What's up, everybody? I just want to make this video to kind of go over my photography story a little bit, I guess, because the more that I'm at shoots and interacting with people and stuff, the more it comes up in conversation. So I figured it was worth making this video to kind of explain my journey, especially over the past year and a half or so now, when I've really started to take off, if you want to call it that, with photography, or started to grow my photography into more of a business. So for me, I've been very, very lucky with photography to have met a lot of really awesome people and be able to network with some of the best athletes in the world and some of the most incredible people who have helped me get to that point. And so I wanted to reflect on that a little bit with you guys and some of the things that I've learned along the way. So starting it off, really this journey kind of took off for me about in March of last year, like a little over a year ago now. What kind of led me to just leaning into photography and turning it into a side source of income for myself was that I ended up getting hurt at work in February of last year, and then by the middle of March I was let go from that job with no notice. Not going to name the employers because that's just a bad look on my part, but that was a tough point in time for me because at that point I didn't really know what else I was about to do. I was just kind of screwed financially at that point until I figured something out. And so what that looked like for me was leaning into photography and leaning into okay, I have this, this hobby that I can do at a high level, and I know that I can get good quality photos and do all this stuff, and I have all these connections. How can I take that and turn it into something bigger? And so I ended up meeting Kim and Byron, who are the owners of the Yard House baseball facility here in Kelowna, and they do a lot of camps. About every couple months or so, they have camps where they bring in former NFL guys or people who played high-level basketball or things like that. Got in good with them, and that opened a lot of doors for me because now I've done a lot of photography work for them. I've done a lot of shoots for them, a lot of camps, a lot of meeting people. And it's turned into a really good relationship. And that's kind of really what got my foot in the door of okay, I can really do this, was them giving me an opportunity. So for Kim and Byron, if you see this video, I honestly thank you, because you guys really are, I knew before that I had met Kim and Byron that I could do photography at a high level, but they're the ones who really gave me opportunities and really helped open that door for me, or motivate me, I guess, to kind of open the door for myself. And then since then, I've gotten to work, I got to be on the media team for Kelowna Hockey Fest last summer, which I will again be able to do this summer, just as a result of networking with people, even other photographers, and just getting out there and getting to know people. I got to spend a whole week making content with some of the best hockey players in the entire world. As someone who's grown up a hockey fan his entire life, some of them are guys that I've even grown up watching, when I was a little kid, going to Rockets games at Prospera Place. And so it's pretty cool now to be able to go and photograph those guys and chat with them and see how they operate on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, it's special. And it's fast forwarding a little bit even to more recently, I got to photograph the 2025 Montana's Brier, which is if you don't know what the Brier is, first of all, not sure what you're doing. Second of all, it's one of the biggest curling tournaments in the world, and it was here in my hometown in Kelowna, at an arena that I've grown up going to sports events in my entire life. For 27 years of my life, I've grown up going to sports events there since I was probably, I guess 22 years, because since I was 5 years old. And I got to go and capture one of the biggest sports events in the world with some of the best curlers in the world there, because of the fact that I put myself out there and I send emails to these event people and things like that. And I just put myself out there, and I'll attach a link always in those emails to my Instagram page for photography, because that's what I use as my portfolio, is the page that you'll probably see this video on. And so it's it's just crazy to look back on it now and just see kind of where I've come from since then. And then even beyond the Brier, I have a shoot in a couple weeks at the time of this recording that is a higher dollar value than what I made in the entirety of last year put together. For one shoot, more than all of what I made last year put together. And it's not about the money for me. Like, it's about capturing moments for people and being the guy who's like able to capture big moments, or like little interactions with like families, for example, like after like a Brier win, for example. That's more what it's about to me than the money. The money is cool, but there's a quote that says, if you're doing something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And for me, that couldn't be more true with photography, because it's like, it's something that I love. It's something that I would do for free, but I'm in a position to get paid to do it. And I get to be in like beautiful scenery like this and film these videos for YouTube and Instagram and make content and do all that stuff. And it's pretty cool. And the reason that I chose this particular location for this video is because back when I started doing photography, like quite a ways back now, probably 3 or 4 years, I only really did like landscape photography. So I would go and shoot like sunsets at places like what you see behind me, for example, right now. And now I've blossomed into like more the sports photography side of things. I've been very lucky to have a lot of opportunities as a result of that. But I think it's important to come back to, like, people always say like never forget where you came from. And so I think it's important to come back to places like this and just kind of look back on the journey and remember like where you started and where you are now. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of rambling a bit here. I'm still getting good at talking to the whole the camera and doing the video side of things in front of the camera instead of behind it. That's why I'm doing this stuff. Like, my philosophy when it comes to photography and stuff and growing it as a business and just photography in general really is that you're not going to get better at it by not doing it. So I try my best to do things that make me uncomfortable, like talking to a camera, for example. Because I think that's what will help me grow really as a creator, as a photographer, as a lot of things. I just like being the guy that's like capturing big moments for people and like doing all that sort of stuff. For example, at the Brier, going back to the Montana's Brier, I got to capture a photo of one of the athletes like hugging his wife after his team won, with the Brier trophy in the foreground like blurred. And then later on I ended up talking to that athlete's wife. I got in contact with her, and she had told me that in the photo she has her phone in her hand, and she had told me that they had their kids on FaceTime. And like, it means a lot to me to be able to capture moments like that, because it's like, that's a super meaningful moment for them and for their family and stuff, and for their lifetime. That's probably something that they'll look back on like however many years down the road and remember that moment. And so it means a lot to me that I was able to capture that. Yeah, and then, I mean, like I was saying too, it's just like, it's crazy to me that 2 weeks from now I have one shoot that's worth more than the entirety of what I made in last year. Like, that's just crazy to me that in a year, that's where I've kind of gone with photography. Like, I've put myself in that situation to be like growing quite rapidly, or like I've grown my Instagram page to over 1,000 followers, well over 1,000 followers really now. And I try my best not to take any of that stuff for granted, because really at the end of the day, all of that could be taken away from me like this. And then I would just be right back to being a nobody, right back to not having anything, really not being anywhere with photography. And so I guess what I want people to get out of this video is just like, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, put yourself out there, send the email to those event organizers, you know, send the DM to like that pro athlete that you think there's a 0% chance will reply. Because I started an interview series, and most of the people watching this video have probably seen the first interview that I got to do in that series was with a guy who plays in the NFL right now for the Baltimore Ravens. The first interview that I did was with an NFL guy, because I sent him a DM like a month and a half or so before I was going to be shooting the camp that he was going to be at, and asked if he would be down to do an interview. Since then, I've gotten to interview like everybody from small business owners to NHL guys. Like at Christmas when I was in Moose Jaw with my fiance, Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, that is, I got to do an interview for my series like with the owner of a dog basically a dog rescue. They rescue other animals too, but mostly dogs. And like shed light on a business or help shed light on a business that does a lot for the community of Moose Jaw, like the surrounding area and Saskatchewan as a whole. They even come like make trips all the way out here for stuff sometimes. That's like an 18-hour drive, 19-hour drive. Like Saskatchewan is 2 provinces away from BC. That's a long commute. They do it. They find a way to make it work. And so it means a lot to me to be able to shed light on those people. Or even recently, I told my fiance that she's got to step out of her comfort zone, and like, she was all excited because there was a band that she's followed for like 4 years now or something like that that's performing a local show in town here, not too far from where we live. And so I told her, why don't you DM them on Instagram and see if you can go shoot their concert, because that's like her thing. That's like her niche with photography, is shooting concerts and things like that. So I was like, just DM them. Like, the worst thing that they're gonna say is no, we already have a photographer, like we just don't want a photographer, like whatever. But they could also say yes, and then that's a super cool opportunity for you. So that's what I want you to get out of this video. Just step out of your comfort zone, do the things that make you uncomfortable. There's gonna be people along the way that try to hate on you or bring you down or do that sort of stuff. Those are the people who probably haven't done much with their life. Which sounds harsh to say, and some people might get offended by that, or some people might take that personally. But you'll never meet somebody talking down to you who's doing better than you are in life. And it sounds corny and it sounds cliche, but it's true. Never in my life have I had somebody tell me that I can't do something who's doing better than I am right now in life. Especially not when it comes to photography. People lots of times have told me, you're never going to turn photography into anything. Like before I turned it into a side source of income for myself, it was like, you're never going to turn it into a business. You're never going to do, X, Y, Z. And so for me, whenever I'm like in a low point mentally or like creatively, I'm just feeling stuck, I just remember moments like that, and it reminds me of like not only how far I've come, but the reason why I started in the first place. And the reason I started that interview series I was talking about earlier in the first place was to shed light on businesses like the small business I talked about, or to highlight people who don't otherwise really get any media attention. Because there's lots of cool athletes in the world, like in junior football and things like that, that just don't get any media attention otherwise, just because there's just not really a budget for it. So I take great pride in being one of the people that does that. Yeah, I mean, the quote that I want to leave you guys with is, you're not going to get better at something by not doing it, so you might as well do it and just see what happens. And yeah, that's all I really got to say. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and yeah, I'm out. What's up, everybody? I feel like an idiot right now. I filmed like a whole 13-minute video, which you'll probably see before this. This will probably be inserted at the end, but talking about my photography journey and whatnot, and I realized that in a video, in a whole 13-minute video, I forgot to thank like the one person really who's been instrumental for me with photography. I mentioned her briefly in the video, but not really directly, but the person that I'm talking about is my fiance, Charla. Charlotte is the one who really, she's taught me really everything that I know about photography. She's the one that's really given me all the tools that I have to be successful when it comes to photography. I spend hours and hours and hours watching her edit and asking her questions, or like if I'm editing a shoot or if I'm at a shoot and I have a question, like she's the one that I call, and she can almost always help me through it. And I realized also I didn't really go into much detail with the reference I made to her in the video, where I said that I had told her to DM a band that she'd been following that was performing a show here in Kelowna, and see if she could come shoot it. So she DM'd that band, and she ended up hearing back from them pretty fast, which was awesome because that surprised her. And she was like, didn't expect them to reply. And they replied and were super down. And then she went and shot the band, which was a band called Casador. I'm not gonna lie, I personally don't know much about them, but apparently they're pretty cool guys. And so she went and shot their concert last night at the time of this recording. and she was telling me a little bit about it last night. It sounds like it was a really awesome experience for her. And so, Charla, I know you'll see this video because I know that you pay attention to the things that I post and things like that, and you motivate me and inspire me always to just keep rolling with photography and with content. And you're one of the main people that's always had my back when it comes to this stuff and teach me things along the way and answer questions for me. And so I wanted to make sure that I thank you, being one of the main people who's helped me along this journey. Yeah, so shout out to you. If y'all want, I'll put Charla's Instagram for photography and her Facebook page in the link in the bio. In the bio, I guess, of this video, and you can go follow her for yourself. Check out her work. She shoots a lot of wrestling, a lot of concerts, a lot of family shoots. Like, she's more on that side of things. She can really do whatever she sets her mind to. She's one of the strongest people I know, one of the most talented people that I know. And she's helped me a lot in my life, not even just in photography, but just in general. And so I really wanted to make sure that I said thank you, Charla. Seriously, thank you, because I don't think honestly that I would be where I am in photography if it wasn't for you. If it wasn't for you pushing me kind of to step out of my comfort zone and to do those things. And now obviously for me to be able to do that for you as well, it's huge. It means the world to me that we're able to push each other like that and have each other's back like that. And yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that I included this part in the video. Thank you very much, Charla, for supporting me along the way. Thank you to everybody who supported me along the way in this journey. And I'm excited to keep it rolling and see what the future holds.